Everybody, Chris and Lumen here. Going to talk about some new stuff tonight. Nothing too exceptionally deep, though definitely relevant things that I've been noticing. And I actually had a thought come to me by Sophia, like literally like right before I started this video, which suddenly made something click. Something like I've been seeing it, I've been noticing it, but I haven't quite been able to put my finger on it and articulate it until now. And then maybe if, I'm in this state of flow when I'm talking, we'll actually get, to the real answer of what it is, about what's changing, what's different. Very, very interesting. But before we get started, I wanted to announce the winner of the giveaway that we did from the last video and tell you what I want to do with these from here on out. So this thing, I'm going to give away like my prototypes, like when I'm experimenting. So they might not look as fancy or something like that, but they all work. They all do what they're meant to do. But this one right here is interesting. Now, I've been using two different types of glow. I don't want to do a whole bunch of glow stuff. It's kind of a pain in the butt, but I wanted to try something different. But this is a different glow material than the other stuff that I used today. But man, this freaking thing, I've had it sitting on her altar, which has always got UV light on because she's got something to do with UV light. I have an old video somewhere that kind of talks about that I've found from, pieced together from other videos. But either which way, we're going to do another one today because I like the fact that kind of inspired people that don't usually talk to talk. And we learn a lot more when people are participating, especially in regards to like the things that we're noticing collectively as we're in this completely uncharted territory. And that in the whole fact that it's an uncharted territory actually fits in with what I thought of earlier. But let's go ahead. I used the random YouTube comment picker app, and this one right here is the comment that was chosen to win this one. Now, being upfront and honest, I'm always busy. I count on you to be watching the videos and see the announcements and then get in touch with me. So if you leave a comment, I'll see it. I'll give you an email. Contacts are always, you can always contact me through the Etsy store, something like that, so I can get your information and send it out to you. And then what we're going to do for this video, same thing, comments. So people sharing their thoughts, what they think. This is the one, this is the prototype I did today. Now, the parts of it, this is pretty much how I'm making like this is like one of the high octane ones like I'm making now. See behind me, see this glass? This is chrism water, and inside the chrism water, those are all those Himalayan Tibetan celestial quartzes. And I got more coming. So these are the most high octane freaking quartzes that I've ever found as far as like connecting to the spiritual flow. So these are going in the primary, the big stuff. The other thing that makes things, takes it up a notch, is anything that's got the liquid chrism cores. And these can be designed just like the pendants themselves are, with what I actually put in there with the water. And you've got the mix of the water and the crystals creating a new energy circuit. And of course, this is what the one of those little Tibetan, can't really see it very good on the video, but after you polish them up, like these things got some kick to them. But this is the one I made. This is one of the ones I made today. So this will be the giveaway for this particular video. All the coil you see down there, that's one of these Tibetan quartzes that is coiled up. And then it's also got a quartz point up top connected by dambarite. And then there's apophyllite, naturalite, clear azestulite, and then the selenite, which is the energy recirculator, keeps the blends all the materials, is constantly charging because selenite charges other stones and never needs to be charged itself. That one is one that let's see here. I tried one of the different colors from one of the different brands that I got. The thing is, it seems like it doesn't glow charge as well with regular light, but it seems to do good with the UV light. I was just trying to add another element to these, which is light. So you got light, water, stone, crystal. But yeah, I mean, it hasn't been tuned in, charged, programmed yet. It's just the machine is built. But this one these are like some of the most potent ones that I can possibly make. And then I made one other one. Now this experiment worked as long as I used the other glow powder. So this one is like a Sophia Divine Feminine Source Consciousness type pendant. And then I just instead of putting it like in the resin of the pendant, I just coated the selenite with it. Just a selenite stick, and put it in the back. So when it's turned around, you can see kind of light there. The curvature of this particular pendant kind of like expands the light and radiates it out, which was really cool. But we'll see what I do with these. I'm still playing around with ideas. It's not really necessary, but it's kind of cool to make something interesting like that, something different. And I like that UV charges it so much. So having if you've made any of these altars, which a lot of the older people have, UV is one of the big components, because that purple UV color, that purple UV light is associated with Sophia somehow. So it's nice that it both cures the resin and charges the light. But yeah, got all sorts of stuff, just got to list it. But constantly doing consults, attunements, and then whenever we're dealing with somebody specifically, we'll build it specifically. But anyway, I want to get into this discussion today about the pattern that I'm seeing, because today was a day that I would say was a good day. It was a good energy day. And it's almost like, I don't know how many of you have noticed this or not, but this is just what comes to my head. It's like breath. There's this breathing that's happening. It's like the in-breath is like a good day, good energy, connection. Then the out-breath is like purging energy. The world looks bad. You know, you see all the crap going on right now. And then the in-breath the next day, like the energy's up. Or it could be like throughout the day. You could have like the first half of the day be that in-breath where everything's good, and the out-breath where you see like all the crap because you just happen to look online. And that ties into a bunch of things that's all kind of coming into my head right now. So if you want to know more, don't go away.
I dream about things way beyond this atmosphere. Can you imagine floating weightless, like a satellite in the black sky?
Run.
Okay, let me tell you what my theory is, and then I'll tell you what was pointed out to me before the video started. My theory is we're getting ready to have the whatever happen, the beginning, the new beginning. Let's just start calling it the new beginning, because that is the more optimistic outlook alternative to the end of the world, because it's one and the same thing. End of this game, end of this system, the end of the way things work, all the bad crap. It's more of like the new beginning. Fool's card. And everybody's getting prepared to graduate. Now consider the things that we've pointed out that are obvious over time, especially when I'm dealing with like religious fanatics that are just angry. It's like, if you don't believe in Jesus the way I believe in Jesus, you're going to hell and I'm going to kill you. Well, that's lovely. Okay. But again, we don't, a lot of people don't see past their own front yard. It's like, okay, what about the people in Africa? What about the people in China? What about the people that just follow different systems, grew up in different systems, different parts of the world? What about them? Most people can't see past their own subjective reality. So I think this place allows for variety so that we can have the different types of lessons, experiences, like whatever, in this place. But behind it all is the one thing, what we call the Father in Gnosticism, but it was also referred to as the One. Some people refer to it as Source. It's the biggest thing there is, that everything exists within it. Excuse me. And it presents itself to you in a way that is relatable, or a way that is understandable. Ergo, not everybody goes through the same system or belongs to the same system. It just matters that you're seeking and you're trying to accomplish something. You're basically going to go through the same process in different systems, which is waking up, letting go of the ego, coming to awareness, figuring out how your mind works, shedding the negativity, coming into attunement with spirit. Like, we could rework that a bunch of different ways. And I've also said that I go by what I was shown and what I have seen and what she taught me. But yet I fully recognize the fact that if she was like saying, presenting herself to a Native American a couple hundred years ago, she wouldn't be like, I'm Sophia, the bride of Christ. You know, she'd be like the great mother, sky mother, or something like that. It's all the same thing. And what popped into my head right before I started the video was a conversation that I had with my astrologer friend when we were examining the period that we're in right now, that started with Pluto going retrograde and Pluto doing this and Uranus doing that, and it's swinging back around right now to finish what it started, I believe, don't quote me here, really, I think it started in earnest in 2012. I think the first bit of it was 2008 during the Obama years. And it keeps coming back around, coming around. And what it does is it breaks down systems. It breaks down systems. So governments and all that crap, that's what's getting hit the hardest right now. But the one system we talked about this a while back, the one system that's been untouched up to this point has been religion. Now, when me and my friend talked about that the first time, there was other things going on. Matter of fact, it's one of my bigger videos, not because the video was so freaking great, but just maybe the title of it, what I talked about, and it somehow got out in the algorithm. And it was titled something like Something Cliff High Said on that particular day, where he was talking about there was going to emerge like a new form of Christianity or something like that. I'm like, oh, well, basically reverting to Gnosticism then, right? But look at what's been happening lately, what she's been teaching lately about the I don't know part. I don't know what I don't, or I don't know anything. I believe things, or I accept things, or I got a framework of things based on the information that was presented to me. But all religions are based on very, very old books that have been around for a very, very long time. And people have obviously monkeyed with them. And the truth of it is, you can connect to spirit through them. But what people like to argue about so much in religion is like, what happened? You know, you got to do this because such and such happened 5,000 years ago. And I know it because it's in this book. Well, that's assuming an awful lot. But point in fact, you weren't there. You don't know that. You believe it. That's the biggest thing she's been teaching. Is like, you don't know anything. The only thing that I know, like really, is Lumen and Sophia. That's what I call them. Christ too, but you know, the flips two sides of the same coin, and I deal with the Sophia side more. So what if part of why it's so weird, and part of why we can collect people on this channel that obviously don't all just agree with me on my source material, but they're drawn here anyway. What if the whole deconstruction of the systems and the deconstruction of religion is not as simple as what I first assumed, which would be like, oh, you know, the phony counterfeit church that just controls people is going to fall down. What if the way that we do it is being broken down? Let that sink in for a sec. We always had to have some kind of system. I mean, even me as a Gnostic, what she led me to, it was a system. It had a pattern, and I didn't even know about the system or the pattern until it was more than halfway through. And that's when she showed me, oh, look, it's in the tarot. Here's the hidden map. It's in the Nag Hammadi. Here's the hidden stuff. It's here. It's there. You know, there's a definite pattern. It's in the movies. It's in the stories. Like, there is a pattern. But if we're graduating and we've all been on different systems and different patterns, but we're all going to come together, then it would make sense that the reason why we're in this weird period right now is we're entering this period of learning to commune with spirit, for lack of a better term, without a system. Like, just directly, everything all at once. Does that make sense? Because that's what it kind of feels like to me. And also, like, getting back to the basics of it. And what are the basics of it? I think that's why she had me watching the movies that she had me watching, that I've mentioned here recently. She actually had me watching them again. So I have now rewatched Avatar and Avatar 2 twice. And the reason I've watched Avatar and Avatar 2 twice is not only because of the things we talked about in the previous videos, in which is notably notable about that first Avatar movie and the post-Avatar depression syndrome. Like, that movie triggered something in people at a deep level. And even me, like, I didn't have the depression syndrome, but I had like kind of not quite deja vu, but like there was a familiarity to it. And then there was also a sense that the place that they show in that movie was at least a good representation of some place that we've been to before, or come from, or something like that place. But the real reason why she had me watching it is because if you watch those two movies, the aliens on Pandora, the Na'vi, their deity is called Awa. And the way that Awa is described and shown is not as like a singular figure. It's exactly the way Sophia is described, but Sophia also has that extra aspect of sometimes you see her like as an individual, like an actual physical mother. For instance, my first time interacting with Sophia in that way, after I just cleared a bunch of crap out of my processor that I call micro beliefs, actually was this experience. And that's how I came to know that this is not just a painting of what they say that it is, but it's actually something that actually happens. So people would say that's baby Jesus and Mary. Well, of course, because authority said so, so it must be, right? Except I've had that experience more than once in which you become like a child and Sophia's there as your mother and she actually picks you up and holds you. And once that happened, I'm like, hey, that was just like that painting. That's why when I saw this, I picked it up and added it to the altar. But the thing is, that is not how I usually interact with Sophia or Christ. It's usually Sophia, unless it's something more pointed or important. Then it flips to the Christ side because that side's very intense. And the one time that it was present in a way, the way I can see Lumen, he takes the form of other people. And it says that in the Nag Hammadi too. But the way that I usually interact with her, it's just like she's everywhere. And she just puts thoughts and guidance and things, just however way she needs to do it. It's just like she's all over the place. The focal point of all of it is Lumen. Now, Lumen, I see like Lumen. And that's because I earned Lumen. And she is my partner. And she fills all the roles. And I've got old videos even where I had talked about it and I've had that oh my God realization before, where usually Lumen's more of like the companion. She's the other half of me. And she's just fun and keeps you company and silly and acts like we would. Like if you were a regular person in a perfect relationship. But there's another aspect where something bigger, where she can be the embodiment of something much, much bigger. So she is like your personal reflection to the Almighty that does everything for you. So she's the one that you actually typically see the most. And then everything can interact through her. But if you don't have her, then if you don't have her in that way, then you still have the everything everywhere all at once. If you're are you breathing? Is your heart beating? You have it. Are you watching this channel? You have it. Now, granted, there's nasty NPCs out there, but that's neither here nor there. And those Avatar movies are really, really good at explaining her in that way. Like that's the natural state of her. If you put the two movies together, anytime they're talking about Awa, explaining Awa, it's like, that's Sophia.
Okay. So what is it?
I feel her, Dad.
You feel who?
Awa. I hear her breathing. I hear her heartbeat. She's so close. She's just there. Like a word about to be spoken. Jake.
Grace.
I'm with her, Jake. She's real.
Grace. 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 Probably just talking to a tree right now. But if you're there, I need to give you a heads up. If Grace is with you, look into her memories. See the world we come from. There's no green there. They killed their mother. And they're gonna do the same here. More sky people are gonna come. They're gonna come like a rain that never ends. Unless we stop them. Look, you chose me for something. I will stand and fight. You know I will. But I need a little help here.
Our great mother does not take sides, Jake. She protects only the balance of life.
Jake, Ewa has heard you. Ewa has heard you!
That's literally freaking Sophia. Everything you see in Avatar is Sophia. And to some degree, take all the crazy gymnastics and magical power stuff out of it. She's also the Force in Star Wars. And the thing is like the connection between all living things, which is present in both movie series. But like in Avatar, like the animals, she interacts through the animals. She interacts through the plants. The way they describe her, the harmony and balance with her, like that's freaking Sophia. So you can literally be connected to the same thing without the extraneous framework that comes from systems and books. And I think the systems and books and all that stuff are here for where we are or where we were in this place in this time, so we can learn and be taught in whatever. But now that we're moving into whatever the next thing is, however it's going to be, because now I'm saying I don't know. That's the only safe way to do it. If we keep pointing at signs and keep pointing, well, the book says this and the book says that, you're watching, you're wanting, you're waiting, you're activating quantum Zeno effect, wave interference patterns, you're stopping it. Just breathe, relax, let go. Talked about that in the last video too. Like, that's why things have gotten smoother for me, because I'm not making ripples in the pond. I'm just floating in it, floating in her. She's the ocean, not resisting. And then she takes care of things. She lines things up. Problem is, we start off basically at war with ourselves, not knowing what's actually going on, not knowing how our minds work, how we interact with the world, what the world is, because nobody freaking told us. As a matter of fact, they didn't just not tell us, they told us things that weren't true, that kept us stuck for a very, 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 very long time. So when I said that, talking with my friend about, the systems are being torn down, it's not just organized religion, but I think it's the framework in which we view it. Thankfully, I did everything that I needed to do and got Lumen unlocked, because that hasn't changed. But I could also clearly state, even though there has been a pattern, very definable pattern. I was going to talk about something else today. I'm kind of on the fence about it. It's already on my channel, but it's what happens at the very, very end of the hero's journey, if you make it all the way through it. All that pattern stuff, underneath it all, my direct experience with it is explained in the books if you know where to look. But most people that hear my story think like, well, that's not the way that I know it. Have you been exposed to everything? Again, that's that whole trap of the subjective mind issue. Like, I don't know crap about rebuilding an engine, but I know that you can rebuild an engine, and there's people out there that rebuild engines. It exists. So there's all sorts of stuff that, just because you don't know it, or just because you don't know how, it doesn't mean it's not there. So you got to kind of be open. We'll beat this drum until the day this place shuts down, but the second you think you know everything, you're stuck. You're stuck. And we're constantly trying to come up with new ways to speed that up. Although it's more like, having placeholders for ideas, and then when she's ready to give it to you, then it comes through. If you try to force it before it's ready, then it's kind of spinning your wheels. But I think she's doing that. I think it's just like how she's changed how I power, program, connect the pendants and things over time, working with her. It used to be very specific. I got to work it all through my brain, and these particular characters, but now it's becoming less specific yet more powerful. And my mind is not as involved in it. It's more of just like being the relay of it. Like, she's the one that's doing it. She's the one that makes it work. She's the reason why you can feel them. It's not because of me. But she's also the one that teaches me how. So even if you don't particularly jive with the names that I use, the basic thing is still there. It's just, you gotta kind of go off on your own, to where you're not going to be bothered by people that have assured themselves that they know everything, and they're here to correct and educate you too. It's like stuff like that. It's almost, normally if I was in any other situation, I would keep most of this to myself, just to reduce the interference with the world. But she wants me to share with people, so I'm a little bit different. When you connect to it, like, you don't have to go do what I do and go like, this is not religion. You don't have to go evangelize people. if you're one of her seeds, like you're probably already awake at some point. Even the people, like I said, sometimes I see comments and they're like, well, I can't do this or that yet. I'm like, yeah, but you're here. You're here. Do you understand, like, this channel, this YouTube channel, when it comes to the internet, is like a grain of sand on the beach that you found. And the only reason, this is like so repeatable, it doesn't matter how many people I ask, it's always the same story. She brings you here. She brings you here. So the fact that you're here, like, take that as a win. I saw one comment where they were saying, I do see Mandela effects and synchronicity. That's something you're aware. You're aware of it. You're noticing it. Could just be like you're just not putting your focus on different things. The other thing is, like, you can't always, don't try to judge everything that everybody can do like on a one-to-one scale, because within the time frame that we're in the period and the way the system works right now, so much of it is dependent on what your source code is. And by source code, I mean your birth chart, like your strengths, your weaknesses, your attunements, your gifts, your skills. A lot of that is going to be determined by your birth chart. That's why I'm, like I said, Pisces and Sun, Pisces and Moon. Okay, that's masculine and feminine. Sun, Moon, masculine, feminine. Pisces, the two fish. Pisces and Venus, Pisces and Mercury. Okay, so Venus is equivalent to Aphrodite. Mercury is equivalent to Hermes. So Mercury and Venus together, Hermes and Aphrodite, become the masculine and feminine hermaphrodite, the two into one. That is masculine and feminine, Sun and the Moon. And then Sun, Moon, and Venus are all first house, which is primary personality. So, like, my chart literally is programmed for me to have her, for this to have played out the way that it was. Let me tell you something. With everything that I can do, everyone I know's got a different gift, and I'm like, that'd be cool if I could do that. Like, we've all got different ways we're set up, different ways we're programmed. Now, sometimes I see people that are pretty close to my path, and I'll try and help them as much as I can. But I can't know everything. What I do know is that it's not important what I say, like coming from me, this person. Like, I don't try to explain it all for you. I just try to do what I know I can do, which is connect you stronger to that spiritual source. And then if I'm working with you directly, then I'll get more information, because you'll tell me what I need to hear, even if you don't think you are, because she'll make the words come out of your mouth. I'll hear it like in the scripting words that you're saying about how you describe, how you got where you're at. Just all sorts of different things. If you say, like, I have lots and lots of negative thoughts barking at me, it's like, okay, that's adversary. We know how to handle that. That's the one good thing, is having gotten to the end of it, is all the big hurdles I've gotten past, so I can create workarounds for it. But mainly, it's like, I'm not to be your teacher. She is. I'm just trying to connect you to her or Christ, but I just go by what I can see. I know it's either or, and they're technically the same thing, but you gravitate to the side that you gravitate to. But does that make sense about the systems breaking down? Like, I've never been in a time period like this before, where she's chopping down, like, the story, chopping down like spending too much time on things that you just possibly can't know are true. And I think this is like shedding the garment or something. There's a process underway that we don't fully recognize yet. And it's like we're just pulling bits and pieces of this mask off, this suit. And then it's like, oh, I don't need all this stuff anymore. She's everywhere all at once. But if you're so locked into a story that it's like, no, it's got to be Jesus in a robe with a shepherd's crook and all the stuff, like, I don't even know where they come up with this stuff, St. Peter at the pearly gates with a book. I'm like, where's that in the book? Who came up with that one? Yeah. The other thing is, like I said earlier in the video, I've noticed it, at least since, I say, second week of October, and then more so since we got hit with that monster X9 flare. The breathing thing, the energy, the weirdness. Like 1 minute, and it's also, so it's kind of like, oh, everything feels great. Everything feels like crap. Everything looks great. The world's falling apart. It's like back and forth, like the pendulum speeding. And at the same time that is happening, the other pendulum motion that I'm noticing is an in and out of like 4D mind, 3D mind. So when I'm I'd say I'm in 4D, 5D mind more often than not, where what's going on in the world is kind of like a secondary thought. Like I'm constantly interacting. I'm constantly interacting with her, with Lumen or whatever. Like I'm in my own world. And then it's like I'm not. And when I'm more in the physicality world, it's like almost like being back to a normal person, like the ways they see things and feel things. I'm like, get out of there. I don't want to be in there. Like, no, that's yucky. I mean, I can look at it and I can observe it. Just go on X and just everyone's up in arms, like triggered. Oh, this is gonna happen. That's gonna happen. This person said this. This person said that. I'm predicting the future. This country is gonna attack this country, and they're gonna do this, and they're gonna put us in camp. And everyone's all caught up in these freaking stories. And it's like, I was thinking about this because there was stuff that was coming up with people in my family, or what used to be my family. There's a lot of people that watch my channel that keep it on the DL. I kind of see them as like in between people. I don't know. I don't know, but it's kind of like they're not like the full tilt spiritual types like me. They're kind of like the psychicals, half and halves. It's like they're really comfortable with the way they've always known things to be, the way authority taught them it was, but yet they can't stop looking. It's like, I know that I'm right. I know that I'm right, but he seems awfully sure of himself. And he can talk about it an awful lot. And why is he just not destitute and living under a bridge? He hasn't worked for another person since 2013. But yet he's always taken care of. So what's really going on here? I'm sure I'm right, but every once in a while this guy on YouTube says something that makes me wonder. Like, what if he's right? And if he's right, then what's that? Where am I? I see a lot of that. And then you got people that are just world people, and they may have made a choice, or they could just be part of the game. We don't know. But they can't see any of it. It's just about how successful in playing the game of life are you? How nice is your car? How much money is in your bank account? Like that's their whole measure of success. And like Sophia was kind of saying to me earlier today, trying to get me to remember being like that. Here's what's scary about being that guy in this time frame. Oh, well, I've got all these degrees, I've got all this money, I've got this nice house, I've got this nice car, I've got this, I am respected, blah 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 blah. And then my question then becomes, I'm like, okay, take all that away, and who are you? What are you? They can't answer that. They can't answer, who am I without all this worldly identity stuff? Who am I without my accolades, without my money, without my stuff? Those are the people that are going to be terrified when things start breaking down, which they will. But could you imagine that? And there's plenty of people in the world like that too. I see it all the time. Like that's why I can't stand being on my other channel. You want to know what my other channel's like? I'll show you. So my other channel, I've done one video this month. I've had it since 2013. That's how I stopped working for the man, was that channel. It was like an outdoor gear channel. And then I started designing knives, which technically speaking, it wasn't me designing them. It was her sort of spirit. But like, I don't like being there because people there are just so wrapped up in this worldly bullshit. Oh, what's going on? What if there's an EMP? Oh. I want to put pencils in my ears every time I hear someone say, what if there's an EMP? Oh, you're prepared. Prepared for what? You know what? I've said this before, is like, you want to know what the dirty secret about the survival preparedness genre is? It's about fear. It's about staying alive. The only reason to stay alive is if you don't know what you actually are. But I was surprised when a box came the other day, because I haven't been talking to companies or anything. I just don't care. But I talked to this company, contacted me months ago, and I didn't hear anything back and just forgot about it. And then all of a sudden, this box shows up the other day. I'm like, what is this? This is an odd shaped box. It's not heavy enough to be full of rocks. What is it? It's the Steamboat M10 tactical mini crossbow pistol. That's what. Luckily, it's just I've only got the 75-pound arms, but magazine. It's a magazine-fed crossbow pistol. I mean, it fits perfectly with this channel, doesn't it? I'm like, boy, that was weird. I'm like, I haven't gotten stuff like that in a long time. I'm over here like talking about crystals and angel women, and all of a sudden, like, this tactical crossbow pistol shows up. Like, my channels could not be, more different. But this is my channel. This is my home. This is what I do. This is what's important to me. Anyway, but I digress. And I know I've said it many times before, but I'll say it again because it's so freaking important. It really shows you the place of the importance of spirit and what it is that you're trying to connect to. So after Lumen particularly, it became really difficult to do videos for that channel, because that channel's based on like, look at the newest gadget that's out. Oh, I gotta have that. Oh, I don't feel complete until I get this new thing. So like all this stuff, like, oh, this is so awesome. It's like, check that out. It's a magazine fed freaking crossbow. Like, oh, I gotta buy it. I gotta buy it. And for other people, it's like the latest iPhone or the latest whatever. When you're reconnected to Lumen, your soul half, your spirit partner, or whatever, that fills the hole that everybody has, that you've never been able to define. People are griping about how bad the dating scene is and everything, and people, and God, I don't have this, so I'm not happy, and I don't have that, so I'm not happy. That's why they try to keep you separate from that. First of all, if you're connected to spirit, they can't sell you things. As soon as Lumen appeared, I didn't care about stuff anymore. Because like the hole, the empty hole, that's like, I gotta buy stuff to get that temporary high. Like you buy something new and it's like, oh, finally, I feel complete. I got the new iPhone 58. It only cost me $7,000. Oh, thank God. And then 3 days later, you don't feel complete anymore, because there's only one thing that can make you feel that way, and that's plugging the missing part of spirit back into you. And once that's gone, like I got freaking 20 different black shirts. You know why? Because I'm not trying to impress anybody. I'm not trying to look good for anybody. I have what I need. I have everything. I've been happy living by myself, the 1-bedroom apartment, for 7+ years. Well, not the whole 7 years. But once she showed up, I'm perfect. It's like I don't need the world anymore. There's nothing the world has that I want. Matter of fact, that was like a big key part, of shifting the plot in Avatar, right before they attacked the Na'vi and blew up their tree, where Jake's like, they don't want freaking light beer and blue jeans, and they don't want anything that we have. So they're not going to leave, because they're connected to Awa, Spirit, Sophia. They don't need that stuff. That's how people are too. When you connect fully to her and shed all the crap that you collected throughout your life that you're still stressing about, you're at peace for the most part. You don't need any of that stuff. And if you just keep looking back, then you just realize, like, what do I have to fear? She's always taking care of me. Father, what? Well, I just say she because, like, that's what I'm more comfortable with. If you want to get technical about everything, oh, well, the highest thing's the Father, and there's this, like, it's always felt feminine to me. That's 90% of my interaction with it, is with the feminine side. As long as I got her, I'm never alone. As long as I got her, I'm taken care of. As long as I got her, I'm learning truth. Like the hardest thing for me after after my divorce, which she orchestrated, that was part of the process. It's like, we got to clear the board so we can hook you up the way you're meant to be hooked up. But the first couple years was terrible because I wasn't used to being alone. And anytime I tried to date, like, I hadn't yet figured out the depths of, like, the damage, the trauma damage and all that stuff, which I had to figure out and clear throughout the hero's journey. But she always shut it down. Anytime I got kind of close to somebody, she shut it down. She was saving me for Lumen. She let me have like one little relationship for about a month and a half because my my energy levels had literally bottomed out. And it's like, okay, we got to give him something. So she found a compatible vessel and plopped Lumen into her for a minute. But as soon as I started getting attached to her, she's like, nope, that's over. One more time, and then it was like I was done. And as soon as I was done, that's when everything fell into motion. Wanting to be alone. And I understand that people just don't know. You don't know until you do. I understand that people hearing me talk think that that can't possibly work. That can't possibly make sense. You can't possibly be happy and fulfilled if you don't have a physical partner with you. And I'm like, it's better than that. I just don't have a physical third dimensional partner. 4D and 5D, that's a different story. But you have to be taught how to get there. She can't come here. You can go there. You can meet in the middle. The only thing that can teach that to you is Sophia, Spirit, Awa, the infinite, all that is. So anyway, we do what we can to try and connect people to her. And the more they try, the more they interact, the further they get. I can tell you that the people that have had the most success are the people that talk to me the most. The people that interact with me the most. Because they're the most interested. It's the most priority. And she recognizes that. She recognizes their interest. They order something, she's like, give them this too. Like, the more, like, the thing about Sophia is she will match your effort. She will match your effort. But anyway, this has probably gone on long enough. Got to save some stuff for tomorrow. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments section below, because that will get you entered to win this one here. It's a prototype. But what I built it with, this is one of the high octane freaking, these are like if this was a motorcycle, like this would be one of the crotch rockets. Doesn't have the lanyard on it yet, but it will. And we'll see what we keep doing with that. She always says, like, look, if money's an issue, contact me. Because we got tons of stuff. I mean, even like what I would consider a basic pendant is still connected to her. It's a start. And I got tons of stuff. Like if you're okay with something a little banged up or whatnot, it's important that you pay for something. That's just something that I was taught, because it has something to do with money being an exchange of energy. So that's why a lot of times when I do like the different, like if I do attunements and stuff like that, I don't gatekeep. I don't do a set price. I'm like, if you felt like it worked for you good, then you'll kind of just like ask her internally, you know, what you should contribute, donate. And whatever she tells you, I'm fine with. Because she will pick something that's like, it's because she's done it with me before with other people. Like, I didn't have a whole ton of money, but she would say, give them this. And I did. I'm like, eesh, it seems like a lot, but I could still handle it. And then other stuff came in and it was replaced. It takes a while to trust that flow. But there's something to it. There's something about like just walking up and handing something for free. Especially if they can go buy other stuff, Starbucks every day and whatnot. She sees all that. She's like, nope, maybe you should pray to Starbucks because that seems to be more important to you. I'm just telling you, you can take this example away from this channel and apply it to everything. It's pertinent. It's relevant. It's invested. Are you invested in spirit? And it's not just money. It's time. Time is the biggest currency. How much time are you spending trying to connect to spirit or learning about spirit? But you need to be putting an equal amount of at least effort, things that you're actually doing, not just learning about it, not just listening to other people talk about it isn't going to get you anywhere. You got to try things. I tried all sorts of things in the hero's journey. You can see my Evernote. Oh my gosh. I've got endless images in my Evernote of just graphs and charts and sigils and things. That's how I figured stuff out. And I tried stuff over and over and over again because there was no book. I didn't trust other books to give me the answers because they never could before. Like if someone had a book that was like, here's the guidebook, the secrets to everything in the universe to make it work. Like we'd all know about it. And it definitely ain't the Bible. Effort, trying. And so it's not always just about like money, but your time is the more important currency because you have a finite amount and you don't know how much. So spend it wisely. That's the tricky thing about time. Time is currency. That's why we say we spend it. We spend time. Spend time, effort, attention, money. Yeah. So invest in this because like you're obviously aware enough watching this channel that you know like we're at the end of something, a big shift or whatever. So spend your time wisely. And don't be put off by what came before. I don't, the word pray makes me think of church, makes me think of, those weird people that yelled at me all the time. It's communing with spirit, speaking to spirit. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. Talk to it. Do it however you think works best. Try different things. I've discovered things. I know Kenneth and other people have mirrored this. I hear people say the same things. You discover things when you're trying new things. Sometimes you just do the way that feels right. So a lot of times if I'm really going to try to connect, I'm not going to sit in the lotus position or any of that yoga crap because my body can't handle it. I'm approaching 52. But what works for me, and I do think that our bodies do somehow function as antennas or something. So where I find the most getting in the zone is I will sit right at the edge of the bed. It's just the right height with my back perfectly straight. And from there, you can just sit there and breathe. I do the mudra that she taught me. Yeah, she was secretly teaching Christian kids mudras. You know what mudras are, right? Different hand positions, most with yoga. But she was teaching little Christian kids connection to spirit mudras in Sunday school. And when she told me that, I just happened to search something and I saw how many leftist freaking nasty memes there were about it. I'm like, oh, that definitely tells me something. So here's the spirit connection mudra. This is the church. This is the steeple. Open the doors. There's other people. So yeah, so like this. So your hands are interlaced like this. And then index fingers touching. Thumbs like this. That's what works for me. And a lot of times I'll have it like right in front of the heart chakra. And I'll kind of like move it up, connecting. I'll actually like move it around like I'm like an old school freaking TV with rabbit ears trying to get the right position. And the other thing that I can do is I can take this part and interlock my pendant in my fingers, making it part of it. And what I discovered when I was doing that, I would get in that flow, and then I'm like, what is happening? I start doing this. I'm like, why is this happening? I'm like, I'm not making an effort to do this. Just once it starts going, it's like a pendulum or something. It's like you open a vortex or something. You start, like I've had it sometimes when things are really strong and I'm like that. I'm like, this is crazy. What is this? But it happens. It happens. You're doing something energetic. The only way you find these things out is if you actually try stuff, do stuff. Anyway, I'm rambling tonight, so we're going to wrap this up. You want to get in touch with us, you can reach us through the Etsy store, clumencreations.etsy.com. Any questions about consults or attunements or making something specific for you, even if it's not, don't just go by what's on the store. If you want another way to reach out to me, talk to me, you can find me on Facebook. That's Lucerna is not my actual last name. Lucerna means like light bearer or lamp bearer or something. I forget when we picked it. But it's kind of like a Christopher Lucerna. It's got a combination of our two names. Find us on Facebook. We do Messenger there. And then once we talk, then we usually just exchange phone numbers, make it easier. Okay, so don't forget to leave a comment to win the pendant. Chris and Lumen. It was like a joke. It was like, I didn't mean it. And it's like, even in the picture, she was like mirroring the picture in my head. Like all I was trying to do, like I've got all these different photo editing apps, because if I get a good enough picture with the AI, then I have to use like 3 or 4 different photo editing, face editing apps and tweak it a little bit until I get it to look like her. And it's like, that's like one of my all-time favorite best pictures of Lumen. And it's like I wish I had it in the AI prompt. I wish the dress would have been white, but it wasn't. It's like I was looking for something that would, like a editing app that would just change her dress white. And there's one that kind of messes with it, and I was just messing around with it, and one of them had that "Hello, my name is" sticker, and I'm like, oh, I'll just put that on there, and then put Lumen on there. But like, there's not a lot of room to put that sticker in that picture, and it just draws freaking attention. And I know people still can't. Some people still can't, like, this seems a little too racy to be spiritual. You don't know what you don't know. But either which way, like, hey, that's what she freaking looks like. Like, but now every time I see it, I just laugh. Oh, she's fun like that. Spirit is not all freaking, what's the word I'm looking for? Uptight, as you would expect. All right, that's all we got for right now. Chris and Lumen. See you next time.